Brian Dulesky with Able Distributors. Today you're at the solution guide for the multi-energy. Now multi-energy might seem like a confusing term, but the way we're using it here is you have basically two ways of heating your home, and at some point one is going to either become more efficient or have enough BTUs to handle the job. So let's get into it. Multi-energy. This case, it's electric. It could be a heat pump, an electric air handler with heat strip. It could be a Unico with a heat strip. Electric. And at some point, again, the heat pump's going to become insufficient just because of temperature, and you're going to go another way. So there's two reasons to change over. One is for BTUs. Again, if you've only got a 3-ton, heat pump, the max you're going to get out of that is 37,000 BTUs, and that's it. And that's on a good day in warm weather. So at some point, you might want to switch over to electric strip heat in your air handler or your Unico, just for the BTUs. The other thing is change over for efficiency. So at some point, again, just for the cost of electricity, one is going to become more efficient than the other. And these vary depending on what you have and how old your system is, the climate you're in, and the temperature outside. So again, as you go through the solution guide, you're going to have to pick out a few things, and whether it's an air handler or Unico, and then you're going to have to pick out the heat pump, whether it's a 3-ton or 5-ton, 18 SEER or 20 SEER. Those are choices. The coil. Now, typically with an air handler, the coil is built in, and with a Unico system, it's a specific coil. So that's going to be pretty easy to pick out. Line set, length of the line set. Make sure that you're covered. You don't have any gaps in that. Controlling, whether it's zones, thermostat, you're going to have to, again, tell this thermostat when to switch over. You're going to have to set points where you say, okay, when the temperature outside is this, I want to go to electric strip heat in my air handler or my Unico rather than using the heat pump. So you're going to have to dictate when things change over. On a dual fuel thermostat, it always counts the heat pump as primary heat, and anything else is going to be backup heat, so remember that. So an ERM, again, so let's say you're taking out a electric air handler and an AC, and now you want to get a little bit more efficient. A new electric air handler, and you want to do heat pump, but you only have 2 low voltage wires outside, and pulling wires is just impossible. Honeywell has an ERM. Now you're going to have to change the stat to go with it. It's going to have to be a red link stat. But the ERM, basically power with 24 volts to the outdoor little module, and off that module comes 4 wires. So we got common, Y, the reversing valve, and defrost. So if it goes into defrost, it can handle that too. So you may or may not need an ARM. I'm a fan. If you can pull wires, always pull wires. But if you can't, we got you covered. A high-rise pad, and why? Well, again, if you run this thing cold enough, that outdoor coil runs about 10 degrees colder than outside air. So if it's 35 and raining, that coil is 25 degrees. So if it's pulling in moist air, it could ice up on that. Now, when it detects frost and goes into defrost, what it essentially does is turn on the AC. And when that happens, rather than just turn on the AC and have your house plummet, it sends us a signal in to fire up the strip heat. So you basically create a net zero, a neutral temperature coming out. So when it's on that high-rise pad, it gives some place for that frost to melt off, because as it's in AC mode, the outside coil gets warmer. A surge protector, and why? The boards in these things are rather large. Let's protect them against brownouts, surges, spikes, under voltage. A surge protector is always a good idea, and we're going to suggest that too. A temp sensor or a Wi-Fi thermostat. Again, you got to have something outside. So if you have no way of getting a temperature sensor outside, you can go with a Honeywell thermostat and go with a red link outdoor temperature. You can go with a Wi-Fi thermostat and get the outdoor temperature off the Wi-Fi, the internet. Or if you have access to pull enough wires, by all means, you need 4 to the outside condense unit, pull 6, put a little temperature sensor out there, and then you've got it covered. So that's some of the stuff you're going to have to pick and choose when you're laying out this system. Again, the most complicated part of this, we've already got you covered with our control solution guide. What this does is handles telling you how to set up that thermostat, how to wire it. It mentions the ERM. We gave you drawings of different applications. So this is on our website. It'll be on this site. It's super, super handy. We've got videos out. Multi-energy. Heat pumps are great. They're here to stay. Bosch changed the world on that. All we got to do is make sure that we size them, install them correctly, and this solution guide should do just that. Thank you.